Hi everyone, I'm Ryder, and while I grew up as an orphan, I've made my way to becoming a millionaire by accident. All I ever knew about my parents was that they died while I was still a baby, so I was put into foster care, and it definitely wasn't pretty. There were guys that would pick on me every single day. You could say I always looked and acted like a young gentleman, so the boys always saw me as a weirdo. Very soon, I found this dirty cellar that I could hide in for most of the day and read, but I had no idea how much I'd still have to live through until I was able to find true happiness. When I was 16, I already knew how to outsmart these guys so that they would leave me alone, but they managed to find another way to intimidate me. As I remember, it was midnight. I heard these three 17-year-olds talking. One of them said that he knows a way to get into the system and check our paperwork. I was pretending to be asleep, but I wanted to join them so much. I mean, who wouldn't want to know if there was someone waiting for them outside? So, as soon as they sneaked out of our room, I followed. I tried to stay quiet and kept my distance. I heard them turning on the computer, whispering, laughing, then whispering again. I needed to hear more, but I knew if I got closer, they'd see me and I'd get in trouble. Is that Ryder's? I heard one of their voices. As soon as I heard my name, I couldn't stop myself, and curiosity nearly killed the cat, at least mentally, because as soon as they saw me, they got incredibly angry, stood in front of me, and said the most horrible thing that I could imagine. My parents weren't dead. They were very much alive, but they gave me up because they didn't want me. They even asked foster care to drive me to the farthest place possible. Now I knew for sure that I had nobody. Well, at least then. After that, I felt that time started passing very quickly, and I got more and more anxious about getting out. I had nowhere to go and nobody was waiting for me. I was pretty good at all the academic stuff, but there was no way I was getting into college being homeless. The day I left the group home was the strangest day of my life. It was me and one of those guys, Tristan. But as soon as we were out on the street, Tristan turned to me and started stuttering. Help me. I don't know anything. All these tough years have taught me to stay calm and act smart. So, I took him with me and we went to the nearest notice board to search for a job. The first thing I noticed was this very sweet note on a piece of paper. Some old woman was searching for someone to take care of her house and to read her books. The caretaker would be housed, so I wouldn't have to worry about being homeless. I called the number and set up an interview. We found some jobs for Tristan too, but before our separation, he stopped me and gave me the craziest piece of information yet. He said they lied before about my parents. They were dead, but they really loved me. Their names were Beckett and Violet. Then he took a ring out of his pocket and gave it to me. Someone left my mom's wedding ring when they took me to the adoption agency. My mom's name was engraved in it. Tristan stole it so he could sell it, but I guess he changed his mind. I hugged him, said goodbye, and left for my job interview. The interview went well, and the next couple of months were more than crazy. It was something I would have never dared to imagine when I was young. This old woman named Jocelyn was crazy rich. She had millions of dollars, but most of her family was dead, and what she really wanted was company. But there was one strange thing that I found in that place that shook me, and my life had never been the same since. Usually, in the evenings, I would walk around the house, looking around, admiring the view and such. Then I saw this little study that I'd never seen before. I opened the door, and it seemed like no one had been here for about 20 years. It was cluttered with tons of stuff, clothes, books, pictures. I was looking around when I heard footsteps. Jocelyn stood on the doorstep with her eyes full of tears, quite angry. She started shouting, "What do you think you're doing? Leave! Leave!" I had never seen her like this. After a second, she calmed down, sat on a chair, and started telling me this heart-wrenching tale about her son that died about 18 years ago. They lost contact because he ran away from home and married some immigrant woman that Jocelyn didn't approve of. I held her hand to comfort her, and that's when she saw my ring. I was wearing my mom's wedding ring, and she went crazy again. trying to tear it off my finger, shouting that I'm a thief. I tried explaining that I didn't take it, but she didn't believe me. Until Jocelyn stood up, opened the drawer, and took out this ring box. She opened the box and screamed, really screamed. It was a near replica of my ring. Jocelyn walked up to me slowly, put her hand on my hair, stroked it slightly, and said, "What were your parents' names, my child?" I think you guys already know what happened. It was a straight-up miracle. One of those movie-like moments that you couldn't believe even if it happened to you. Somehow, after all the pain and suffering, I had found my way to my grandma, my father's mother. She hugged me tightly and held me for like an hour. We spent the next year getting to know each other, sharing stories. I was getting to know my family and my father until she passed away and I was left alone all over again. But this time, I was left alone with millions of dollars, a big house, and a family history. And I wasn't lonely anymore because I felt like I belonged somewhere. I had roots. I felt a connection with both sides of my family. So I used my father's family money to help immigrants in need. Those who had a hard time settling in and reaching their dreams. Those who were foreign in this place, like my mother. I guess you should never lose hope. Because if you get through all of your hardships and suffering, you'll be rewarded with happiness and purpose.
Did you like this story? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Dear Diary as we post new stories every week.